roads. Well, let's talk to Matthew Avery, the Chief Research Strategy Officer at the road safety organisation Thatcham Research. Matthew, welcome. Just to be clear, is the law fit for purpose for the growing numbers of driverless cars expected on our roads? We're expecting Tesla to start rolling out its self-driving features at the end of this year.
Well, we don't have self-driving cars on UK roads yet, and indeed European roads. But what we have today are assisted driving features, and you mentioned Tesla, and they have that feature. And there are quite a lot of other manufacturers. And that is technology that makes you keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. It's what we call assisted driving technology. And it's good for reducing fatigue, especially on long journeys. Now, in the UN, it was signed off new regulations, and the first vehicle to be type approved for automated driving was the Mercedes S-Class right at the end of last year, which means on UK roads and certainly German roads in 2022, we're actually going to see automated driving. That is, you can drive with the hands off the wheel, eyes off the road in limited circumstances.
So what are the recommendations being made here on this?
Well, the important thing is clear liability. So the UK insurance industry really applauds this report from the Law Commission. Basically, it sets out liability when you're driving and when you're not driving, because obviously if you're not driving, you're a passenger, you can't be liable for what happens with your vehicle. So basically says that if you're not driving and there's an accident, the vehicle manufacturer would be responsible. Likewise, if you were to break the law, exceed the speed limit or go through a red light, again, the vehicle manufacturer would be ultimately liable.
Presumably, legal clarity on liability would be very warmly welcomed by the industry.
And that's exactly what this Law Commission report recommends. It says there must be legal clarity on this to establish liability. And of course, the clarity is very important because people have to have trust. They have to have trust in automated vehicles. We have to make sure they're safe and that people trust that they're going to be safe. But also, if it does go wrong, and these vehicles will not be accident-free, there will be collisions, probably far less than we have today, but there will be collisions. People need to be clear that if it's not their fault, they shouldn't have to pay, their insurance company shouldn't have to pay, and they certainly shouldn't be legally liable.
And for those of us who may not be able to drive one of these posh cars for many years, maybe you'll just clear up one thing. These cars will presumably switch between fully autonomous and human intervention mode. Then in the event of an accident, investigators have to prove who is in charge. How does it work?
Well, that's a very important part, because what we need, what the Law Commission report recommends and what the insurers are calling for is access to data. We know these vehicles will be recording data, and they'll be recording if there are collisions, and the insurance industry must have access to that to understand liability. Otherwise, we'll have situations where the driver will blame the car and the vehicle manufacturer will probably blame the driver. And what we need is clarity to understand who was driving at the time of the collision. If it was the driver, the insurance company pays because they're covered. If it was the vehicle, then the vehicle manufacturer pays and they're liable. So data is key.